Alrighty, so this is episode 7 of the This That podcast. Today I've got my friend Nathan on. The man needs no introduction, but I will do one anyways. Me and Nathan used to live together in a flat on Zocky Hall Street and had many a good time there. Before that, I commandeered myself onto his family holiday to Florida. As I'm pretty good at doing actually. Before that, we've been good friends since primary school as well, where when we were around, I think 8 years old, he stole my adamant armour on RuneScape. So he's a not to be trusted individual.
No.
Nathan, do you have anything to say to these claims?
Just false allegations, innit?
Anyways, Nathan, mate, how you doing?
Yeah, not bad. What about yourself?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. We're on a major time difference here right now. It's 9:15 in the morning for me. What time is it for you?
10:15 at night, yeah.
You're a bit of a night owl, aren't you?
A bit of a what?
A night owl.
Yes, to be fair, I don't know. I used to be, but I'm quite enjoying an early night nowadays, to be honest. So I don't know. This is like, it's approaching my bedtime, put it that way.
Okay, so we're just like getting a Fast and Furious podcast in.
If you want, you can do it any way you want.
Awesome, mate. Are you working tomorrow?
I am indeed. Working from home though, so it's not as bad. You can chill out a little bit. Kind of start work at 9, so rock out of bed at 8:30, grab a shower, grab a coffee, and just kind of ease myself into it at my desk. It's not too bad.
Sick. That's how many days are you working from home compared to working in the office?
2 days in the office, so like Tuesday, Thursdays, I'm in Glasgow in the office, and Monday, Wednesday, Friday at home. So it's not too bad.
Sick. You said that you rock out 8:30, grab a shower, grab a coffee, and that. With the podcast in the past, we've always kind of started off with people's morning rituals, and specifically around coffee, what they're consuming.
Right. Right.
I don't know specifically what you do in terms of coffee, but I know that you have somewhat of a level of knowledge just because I've forced it upon you. So talk me through your kind of approach to coffee, or like your morning drink and what you have.
It's always a flat white in the morning. I won't lie to you. That's at home and that's in the office as well. So it's always a flat white. Got a little bit of a kick to wake me up. So make myself a flat white when I'm at home, or go to the coffee shop in the office and get one when I'm in town.
And are you particularly bothered about whether it's from an independent brand, or you just like grab some Starbucks beans, get that going?
See, to be fair, like it's because obviously my stepdad as well. He's like diehard Starbucks fan, so I kind of have to like compromise with the beans. But like when obviously I was living in the flat myself and stuff, it was always like independent coffee brands. But yeah, it is what it is.
Do you notice that in the office when people come in with coffee cups, is there like a divergence between people that have Starbucks and Costa, or is there more independent brands? Is that something you've been aware of?
You see, to be fair, most of the people you see around the office are all like, I can't remember who is it. Grain and Grind, I think it is, that does the coffee in the offices. So most people are all walking around with like the reusable cups they have in the office. Every now and then you see someone in the morning, obviously, that's like swum by a Costa and picked one up on the way to work. But it's mostly all from like the coffee shops and the offices. I think there's quite a few. So
you have, so it's Barclays. I'm right in saying that, right?
Yep, it's Barclays. Yep.
And they've just constructed in the past few years this massive building in Glasgow. And
yeah, it's one of like the world, or like their world headquarters now. So it's it's pretty big.
And from what I understand, what I remember you telling me is that within it, they had all these independent coffee shops and food shops. Tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, so see, to be fair, I'm just like, how long have I been there for? I joined in August, and I've still not bought like an item of food from the offices. But it is like independent. It's mostly like Clyde and Grain. Grain and Grind, but it's called Clyde and Grain in the offices. I just get the coffees, to be honest, and bring my lunch with me. Eat a bit healthier, but so they also have like a kind of street market bit where they get kind of local independent stores to come in every now and then and sell whatever it is they're selling. To be honest, it can be obviously food stuff or kind of handcrafted kind of accessories for gifts and things like that. It's quite cool. They kind of obviously they try to give back a bit to the community, which I find pretty cool. So.
Sick. And it's all Barclays employees within your building.
Yeah, it's just Barclays. Yep.
Sick. What does that look like? What's the demographic range? Is it mainly young people, mainly people in like the 20s and 30s and 40s?
It's like very, very evenly spread across like every age group, I'd say, to be honest. It's always the people that have been there for before they opened the new campus that have worked at Barclays for years in Glasgow and obviously got moved there once it opened up. But I think they take on, I can't remember how many like grads and stuff they take on as well. So there is quite a lot of young faces. It's quite good for easing in. Obviously, there's some people your age, but obviously you're still learning from people that have been there for a long time as well. So it's pretty good.
Do you have mentors?
Yeah, so I have like a few. They kind of, I think one of the problems that these kind of companies have is like losing the talent they get in. So like one way that Barclays has tried to like retain their talents, like their grads and their interns and apprentices, is like by making sure they have enough people they can speak to. So like I have like a senior buddy, I have like a talent coach, I have like a graduate buddy who's like a graduate who joined last year. So there's like different people at different points in their career that I can go to and talk to, if you know what I mean. And they just kind of tried to fill all the possible gaps of where I might be like wanting to speak out about something. So the help's there basically.
And is that something you've actually utilised, or is that just something on the back burner for later?
I've not really had anything to like speak out about, to be honest. But it's kind of good to know it's there in a way, because you know that if there is any issues, that there's definitely people you can speak to. So
that's class. I was wondering, see, in a place like Barclays, obviously a lot of people in there are very smart. They're probably in very well-paying jobs. They're doing very important things. Do you ever see kids kicking about in shorts and sandals? Is that like some senior exec that just doesn't give a fuck, or is it just all kids in suits?
It's not all suits. I don't know. It kind of depends from team to team. Like typically, I'll wear like a kind of shirt and trousers and stuff. I don't know, but then you see people rocking up in like hoodies and jeans. It's never like proper casual, like joggies or shorts and stuff. It's kind of like, I don't know how to explain that. If you know what I mean? It's just, as far as it goes, is like jeans are just kind of like casual trousers and stuff, up to like suits. But yeah.
You obviously at home, you're not sitting there in a suit, are you? You're sitting there in joggies or shorts.
No. Of course, right? Yeah, something comfortable, definitely. I can't. Yeah, it's kind of funny because we don't really. Obviously, I have quite a lot of calls every day, but never really have to put my video camera on even when I'm in the office or at home, which is kind of a blessing because you don't really have to make much effort. So that's quite good.
Do you reckon that has an impact on how hard you work in terms of what you wear? Or do you reckon it's a matter of social pressure as well, like being within the office, you get people around you?
Do you know, it probably does have an effect, because obviously I prefer working from home because I am comfortable, and maybe there is like a kind of thought in the back of my head where like, oh, I'd rather just, go to the office in a nice, like, something that's going to be comfy rather than like kind of smart trousers and a shirt and pointy shoes. There's definitely something there, I'd say, maybe that's one of the reasons I like working from home, because I can sit at comfort. Yeah.
Is that something you want to go into full time? Like, if you had the option, what would be your ideal split of office to homework?
See, to be fair, 2 days a week's fine. It's like, as much as I say I like working from home, it is quite good to be in the office and make use of the facilities that they've got there. Like the setup for like the desks and even just being around your team and whatnot. It's never too busy as well, so it doesn't really feel cramped. It's just kind of a nice space to focus and get your work done. It definitely probably makes you focus a bit more on what you're doing. I wouldn't really say it makes you any more productive though. But nah, 2 days a week is a good split, I think. I think getting more than two would be slightly annoying. But I'm enjoying it at the moment.
Sick. And we've not actually went over this yet, but what the fuck do you actually do? Take us through the last. How long have you been at your job for now?
I joined in August,
Okay.
mid-August, so I don't know how many months that is, like four months maybe. I
Okay.
don't know, something around that.
So 4 months. Take
So
us
like the
through what
way,
you've been actually doing.
kind of limited to what I can say because then Barclays will pure hunt me down and be like, "What have you been talking about?" But for the Barclays snipers and that.
He's got a foul
I'll
camo
go
on
over.
his intervention.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. I'll go over it kind of like generally. So like, first of all, like the way the grad scheme works, is like so. It used to be before this year anyway. It was 2 1-year rotations. So after a year of being on it, you'll get rotated into a new team like completely. But they changed it for this year going forward, where on the program I'm on anyway, it's 3 8-month rotations. So every 8 months you'll get changed team. So the idea is that obviously you get a bit of experience in doing different things. So it'll be completely different to what you were doing last time round. So this rotation, I've been doing a lot of like DevOps work. So I guess for those not fairly familiar with what DevOps is, it's kind of like all about automating processes within teams. I mean that's kind of very general, but so like if you think about from development and obviously like a developer sitting at their desk coding away, going through to like live that the end users are using. Obviously there's like a kind of testing got to be done. There's also got to be like the deployment process. So DevOps is kind of about having like these kind of like pipelines that you as soon as you like submit your code, like with these checks, the tests get ran, then you can also do like a automated deployment and things like that. So about kind of it's about making things more efficient so that the teams can deliver better work on a more frequent basis, essentially.
Mm. And is the work you're doing for your teams, you're making the
Mm-hmm.
processes within Barclays more efficient?
For my team, yeah.
Okay. And can you speak about what your team does, like what they're actually focusing on, or is that sensitive information?
Um, so I work in markets post trade, and the team's like the team I'm in is like CMA. So basically, Barclays have like a demand put on them by like the FCA in the UK. Obviously, there's probably other authorities around the world, that, especially after the 2008 crisis, where basically Barclays have got to notify the FCA where the client money or assets is being held in the event that the bank goes insolvent. So if the bank goes insolvent within 48 hours, the FCA have got to be notified of like how the money's I think it's how the money's getting given back to the clients. Like basically, Barclays can't use that money; it's got to be segregated. So my team works on the tools that are used by the operations teams to like submit these like findings every day, just so it's constantly getting updated.
Okay, so it's
If that makes sense.
essentially a safety net to ensure clients receive their money back in the case that the
Yeah.
bank does go under.
Yep, the bank goes under, and that money is like every client receives back the money that they've like put into the bank or into the bank. If you get me, yeah.
Are you sure this isn't some positive PR you're just putting out in this podcast with 8 listeners, trying
Well,
to establish trust in the major banks and the major
that's what
financial players?
I've been told. So, yeah.
I love it. Do you enjoy it? So? I've known you for a while, and you've always been interested
hmm
in computers and programming.
hmm
Is that the
I'm
area
enjoying it.
of programming that you're most interested in, or is there other areas that you'd like to
Um,
progress into?
Personally, I quite like doing like front end, like web development or like application development because I always quite like seeing the result of your changes, if you know what I mean. So obviously, like that's kind of very directly linked to the end user because it's the interface the user's interacting with. So didn't really know much about what I was going to be doing when I joined the team, but very much using it as a learning experience because again, you never really know what the future holds, and it's valuable experience at the end of the day. So DevOps is pretty like hot right now, I guess, in tech. So it'll be good to have like 8 months worth of experience in it anyway, going forward.
And that experience, is there aspirations that you have to continue with Barclays for a long time? Do you have entrepreneurial aspirations? Where does your kind of career ambitions line up?
Right now, it's pretty much just enjoy where I am for now. The grad scheme's 2 years long, and there's a role guaranteed at the end of it for me. So like I don't really have to think about that much right now. I'm just kind of thinking about taking it as it comes and learning. At the end of the day, the people you're working with, they're all top professionals and have been in decades of experience and stuff. So just try to soak it in as much as possible at the early stages of the career, and then use that down the line, essentially.
The reason I asked that specifically with you is you come from a background of both risk takers and entrepreneurs and people who've been successful in business, with both your mum and your dad and your stepdad as well. Is that something you can expand on for us a little bit?
In what sense? Just kind of how that's done pretty well for themselves, and
just how it's influenced. I mean,
I guess coming from like people that are quite like business savvy, it's definitely been helpful for me. I mean, my dad's side was very tech related, and I guess kind of probably where I get a lot of my tech kind of interest from. But I don't know. I think it's just going to help the way I think about like working, I guess, and learning. It's very eager to just kind of pick it up from people as I go along, because that's essentially what they've done with their careers. So yeah.
And would you say you're still in conversation with them about that now? So about the stuff that you do these days and where you can take that? Is that a discussion that you've had with both sides of the parents?
Like I kind of very much still in contact with all my family, always really. So kind of talk to them about stuff that I'm learning and things that are going on in my career at this point. Getting opinions and things like that, and it's very handy.
How often or how much do you value the advice? How much do you weigh up the advice? So for me, I know that if my mum and dad tell me something, like I know that they're right, but I'm just stupid enough that I'll go ahead and do my own thing anyways because I need to learn by doing. So I'm wondering what your split is.
I definitely take it on board. Like they are probably the sense of reasoning, and then like they probably offer like a unique perspective that maybe I'm not looking at it that way. So yeah, they kind of like enlighten me a little bit, if you know what I mean. And kind of like, oh, okay, that's what I should do, kind of moments, which is quite handy.
Yeah, I can imagine that's pretty useful. Do you think
definitely
the business savviness, is that something that's prominent across the rest of your family? So what ages are your sisters now?
Good question. 7
Stumped.
Yeah, 17, 14, and 12. Yeah, I think that's right. 17, 14, 12. Yeah.
Have they illustrated any of those behaviours? What are they interested in?
Nah, they're all very, very different. They're all Becca, the oldest of my youngest sisters are. She's very much like sciencey, but also like English lit. She loves. Holly's like an absolute machine right now. She's like black belt taekwondo and training hard like every day. She's like a proper athlete, is meant to. And Casey's she's just started at high school this year, so she's like coming round to it all as well. But she's also kind of smart in her own right as well. It's quite cool seeing how diverse it is across them, and how they differ from me. I was always like, oh, you should definitely get into tech, like that's where the jobs are and stuff. But they've just kind of ignored that and done their own thing, and fair enough to them.
Yeah, it's a bit of a range between English lit and then someone that's an expert, an athlete with taekwondo, and then your youngest sister. Like it's a complete range that's happened there.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. Again, but there's probably links between them all, like determination and kind of desire to succeed. Where you can say they get that from their parents as well, just in a different way, maybe.
How much do you think determination and ambition is passed down through your parents, and how much is learned behaviour?
I'm not really sure how much. I'm guessing, I don't know, it's probably just like growing up in that environment more than anything that I'd say, maybe, and being around people that have that determination.
Okay.
That's maybe what I'd say I'd probably picked it up most from.
If you stick with me with this question as well, do
Right,
you want kids as you get older?
Yeah, sure. Like,
How
I don't really have any plans, obviously, but like, I don't really actively think about how many or whatever. But I mean, it's welcome.
I mean, pick a number. You've got to have a number of kids. Pick a number.
Pick a number. I don't know. Like, let's say 2.
Okay, we'll get 2. We got names for them yet? Or are they just Kid X and Kid Y?
Kid X and Kid Y. Yeah,
right.
It's not something I actively think about. I won't lie to you.
You're not feeling plucky recently. Just like, oh, that kid's so cute on the street. Oh, look at these.
Nah. Have you ever? I mean, it's quite mean, but there's like Instagram reels. There's an account, and it's just like kids hurting themselves. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but like that gives me a laugh at times. It's like kids just falling about and like landing in their faces.
Like I've seen similar stuff on Reddit. It's like kids doing dumb things. Yeah, I mean, kids being dumb.
Yeah, very, very similar. Yeah.
Okay, so you're at the sadistic mode with kids, not yet.
Yeah, I don't know what stage that is, but
yeah. Right, so back to the question. You get Kid X, you get Kid Y. Is there any way in which you would raise them and to give them the best life? And what's your idea of a best life for them?
Oh God, man, this is like these are hard questions. I don't know. That's not something like I really think about at this point. I'm still thinking about how I'm like raising myself. Let
me preface. My kids. Let me preface, because I do want kids when I'm older, not until my late 30s. So, a while from now, I want to do all my own shit first. But my main worry is when I have kids is that they'll be like society will be so inundated with technology and it'll be everywhere that they'll lose all that social skills and ability to conversate with other people. And I think about my upbringing. Yeah. My upbringing was amazing. Love my parents; they were great. The only things that I would change is I wish that I get introduced to a language and a martial art at a younger age, because I think they're two massive things, like confidence builders. And I'm just thinking, like, when I have kids, that's the sort of things that I would like them to learn. And probably a deeper question, but try get sheltered somewhat from technology and stuff.
Okay. I mean, you've definitely thought this out more than I have, I won't lie.
Well, here's this, right? Fuck Kid X, Kid Y, they're dead. I don't know how they've died, but they've died. What's one thing you would change about your upbringing?
Change about my upbringing? Oh, man. It's probably sports related, I guess. Well, I should kind of stuck with a sport. There never really was like that athletic growing up. Like, obviously, I love football. I think my issue was the training. I just didn't like the training, but I like playing like a game of football and stuff, even if I wasn't that good at it. That was super enjoyable. But knowing that obviously if I just stuck with the training and stuff, I actually would have made myself better. Probably wish I kind of got into like stuck with sports properly.
What made you? So you said the training aspect of it. Was it just the physical exercise part of it? What is it about the training you didn't like?
I think it was just like the repetitiveness, to be honest, more than anything. I just kind of got bored, if you know what I mean. It just wasn't as enjoyable as, don't know what else I was doing, just sitting about playing games.
Sitting about stealing my adamant armour from RuneScape, you could.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so we're not enjoying that, but recently you've had a bit of a research. As I've never, being honest, mate, I've never known you as the most athletic man on the planet. A very smart, very intelligent, very interesting guy, but you've never been the most athletic. But recently, within the past 8 months or so, you've made a bit of a change in your life. So tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, just like climbing, isn't it? I don't even know how it came about. I think it probably like kind of took an interest in hiking and like I don't know, just kind of found myself in a hole of like watching YouTube videos and documentaries of like people go out hikes and those kind of things, also like Everest expeditions and stuff, and then somehow from that found like climbing documentaries. Obviously, you've got like the Alpinist or like the Dawn Wall and Free Solo, and yeah, I mean it's kind of weird because you watch these documentaries and you think, oh my god, like, I don't want to put myself in those positions, but then I kind of was like, oh, obviously you have like bouldering gyms and stuff like that, and wanted to go try it, and you just kind of loved it from like the first go. And I think what I was saying about obviously it's not as repetitive, and it's very much like problem solving at the same time as giving yourself like a full body workout. And the thing I like about it as well is how definitive the progress is. So obviously you can actually see yourself like doing harder graded climbs, and that's like a good benchmark for how well you're progressing. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's probably the things that are like drawn me to it. But at the same time, it's helping me get like probably as fit as I've ever been in my life. So yeah.
How often are you
Proper.
smashing out a climb?
How many times I go? Probably like 3 or 4 times a week to the gym. So it's all indoor at the moment, and it's all been bouldering. So obviously like no ropes, just short walls, short climbs, but probably a bit more. So I think the kind of difference between bouldering and also like rope climbing is it's a bit more like shorter climbs, but kind of more dynamic movements. Whereas like rope climbing's like endurance based more than anything.
Mm.
So it's all been like indoor bouldering, but so I've been going to the gym like 3, 4 times a week. So I'd normally go like say like Sunday, Wednesday, Friday, then or maybe like an extra day in there. But I kind of found myself, especially you get really addicted to it really quickly. And I started getting it tendonitis in my elbows. So basically, like also like tennis elbow or climber's elbow, where you're just overworking your tendons. Because how like obviously they sort of develop at a much slower rate than muscles do. So that kind of became a limiting factor. I had to kind of cut down how much I was going, which is also a pain because all you want to be doing is at the gym. Yeah, so currently only indoor right now, but I do kind of want to start trying to get into more outdoor stuff. I probably picked the wrong season to be wanting to do that because it's like middle of winter here now. But come next year, obviously, I'll have enough. I'll be about coming up for a year of been doing stuff inside, and we can start trying to get into like roped and outdoor climbing, which I'm kind of looking forward to. So kind of trying to use this as more like a kind of training period and come up with a plan and how to kind of progress myself more than I have so far. So yeah.
So is that something where you'll need someone to show you and guide you around? Because that fucking terrifies me when I see the videos of people climbing these massive mountains, even with the ropes attached and stuff. I'm just thinking, are you just going to go into that fucking raw dog it and see what happens, or are you going to get someone to kind of show you?
Yeah, I mean, so what I want to do is do some kind of like indoor roped introduction course, and that way you can get some experience doing that. And I think once you've done those kind of sessions, you can go to any gym that you want and just kind of prove. I think the kind of way they check is they just ask you a few questions in rope climbing, and then like if you know your stuff, they let you go in and practice there. So I'd like to do some of that indoors, and then from there probably do some bouldering outdoors because it's a little less scary. And then obviously maybe one day do some roped outdoor climbing as well. Yeah, I don't know. It's fun.
What's the difference between bouldering and rope climbing? Bouldering just like a short course.
Yeah. So I was gonna say, so bouldering's like smaller walls, but you kind of find. I mean, I don't know. I'm saying this from some like mad expert. I've only been doing it since like March, but it's just obviously no ropes, no harness or anything. Much shorter climbs, but maybe a bit more like technical. Or so it kind of requires a bit more like focus on your movement. And again, your bursts of power to like get between holds and whatnot. I think that's like a reasonable explanation of the difference.
Yeah, okay, it makes sense. It's more
and then
shorter.
Yeah, and then rope climbing is like obviously you're climbing for a lot longer, having to clip yourself in at times if you're doing a like lead climbing. It's more like endurance based because you're having to kind of keep yourself on the wall for a lot longer. So it's kind of, I don't know, different kinds of fitness in a way.
Do you have any what of a fear of heights?
A feed of heights.
Yeah.
I mean, it does get quite scary. I think that's definitely like when you're starting out, like you kind of get like halfway up the wall and you're like, God, I'm going to fall. It's like a fear of falling more than anything. But I think it just takes like a couple falls for you to realize it's not that bad. I mean, I'm saying indoors, but if you fall outdoors, if you don't have mats and stuff, they're probably going to hurt quite a lot. So we'll see. That's probably like a different fear that I'll have to overcome when I get around to it. But yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a few people when they do the bouldering, they bring their own mats with them, so if they fall off, they fall off to their own thing. But it's a bit different if you're Alex Honnold soloing this massive.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm never. I don't have any desire to go that far with it. I'll tell you that. That's like freaks me out. Like even watching that, I don't know about you, but watching like free solo, like my hands are like sweating. I have to like dry them by wiping them like my knees and stuff. It just looks terrifying.
Yeah,
That far up, but like a mountain without any like protection. It's about, I don't know. But
Free Solo and the one that you introduced me to, The Alpinist. The Alpinist was an incredible documentary.
I mean, yeah, okay, yeah, that I won't spoil. Yeah, I won't spoil anything about it. I was just going to blatantly come out with like how it ended. But yeah, it was pretty good as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy that there's people that are just built like that. It's kind of similar across Honnold's story against what's the guy's name in The Alpinist again?
Is it Marc-Andre Leclerc or something?
Yeah,
like that?
that's it, Marc-Andre Leclerc. But
I mean, I don't. Is that right? I think it might be.
They're always like nerdy, awkward dudes that at 18 years old can think of nothing else to do other than just climb. Like that's all they can think about entirely.
I'm pretty sure the kind of background for Alex Honnold was like he was too nervous to ask people if they could like. So obviously, when you're doing rope climbing, you have a belayer. I think that's pronounced it. Sit at the bottom, like feeding you the rope through. So if you fall, basically they cut it. Not that they don't cut the rope, but like they kind of stop feeding it and then kind of cut the slack so that you don't fly onto the ground and you kind of hang swinging about and you don't hit off things and die. That would be good. But he was like too nervous to ask people to do that for him, so he was like, I'm just going to climb it without any ropes, and that's how he kind of like got good at free soloing, which is mental.
One thing that strikes me about these kind of dudes specifically is that they're so enamored with that one thing that they don't do anything else. They just go entirely in on one pursuit. And does that, for me, that's something that comes up in my mind a lot, where there's so many different things I want to do. I want to travel. I want to start a podcast, the cold brew business. I want to do other things. I want to learn how to do DIY and stuff. But I do question to myself sometimes if it's better to just focus on one pursuit entirely. But I don't think I've ever felt as enamored as these dudes seem to be on the podcast, or not on the podcast, on these documentaries, where they're just, that's all they can do, that's all they can think about. I don't think I've ever felt like that about anything. Is that?
No, it's pretty fascinating, really. Like I wonder what it takes, like, or if it just like something comes along and it just kind of like clicks, like that's the thing. I don't know.
Is that something you reckon you'll experience in your life? Like, do we all get one of them at one point?
I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing to think about. There might be different circumstances, I guess, like things you've got going on. I think probably for them, like they felt climbing is a bit of an escape. I mean, I don't know for certain, but it kind of escaped like stuff that was going on elsewhere in their lives, maybe. And that was part, like they kind of took solace in it. That's why they got into it so hard, I guess, or so deep. Yeah.
I was talking to a friend the other day, and we're talking about this idea of passion and focus on one versus multiple pursuits. And we got into discussion, and I was saying that, again, there's so many things I want to try, and there's lots of different careers I'd want to do. I'd love to be a screenwriter. I'd love to do a different career, just learning how to grow fucking really good herbs. I'd love to do a career as like a pizza maker or a fucking sandwich maker. I would love to, I want to be very successful in business. There's a million different things that I want to do. So my question for you is, if you were to pick 3 alternative careers outside of your current one, what would they be? And they can be anything. They can be wild. You can make tables for a living if you want.
Oh man, that's pretty tough, man. I think being a chef would be pretty cool. So just being really good at like cooking food, that would be the dream.
Would you have a cuisine?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay, we've got chef for number 1. I can get behind
that
as well.
I'm trying to think. Chef. I don't know. It's tough, isn't it?
Would you ever want to be a gamer?
I mean, that would be a pretty wild way to make your money, wouldn't it? Just like, yeah, I don't know. That was pretty cool, I suppose. Yeah, throw that in there. Go for it, gamer. I don't know. I don't really thought about what else I would be doing. I guess it would be quite cool. So you just have like a niche, like as you said, like making tables. So like you found something you were good at, like that, something small but you're really good. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Like, I don't know what else. Try to think. Just being like a craftsman. People paying like lots of money for the stuff that you love making that would work. That'd be pretty cool.
So it's the factor of being an expert in a specific domain that appeals to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Where would you say you lie in your career in terms of you as a programmer, from 0 being a fucking idiot like me that has no idea, and then a 10 being the dudes that made Spotify and can program really well? Where are you?
Oh, I don't know, man. Like, it's hard to put into perspective. There's like there's just so much to it. Like, obviously, I can retire and still like just dip my toes in the water, if you know what I mean. I don't know. Maybe it's like a 5 or a 6, say, in the grand scheme of things. Maybe a 5. Go with 5.
Okay, so right in the middle.
There's so much to it. It's really hard to say you know everything about it when obviously you think about the languages, the tools, the framework. You could spend forever just learning, and then you think about how there's stuff coming out every single day that will like change the way we do things, down the line. So you're constantly learning. I think that's probably one of the biggest things about that kind of this industry is you're just constantly learning new tools or new ways to do things, essentially, which is pretty good to be fair. So you're not kind of stuck with the same stuff every day. Yeah.
Is there any chance that AI will ever overpower your industry or take a larger part?
It probably could, yeah. I mean, I just don't think there's like, at the end of the day, there's probably going to have to be someone coding the AI, maybe, is my perspective on it. But I bet you could, yeah. You can make an AI to make like applications, web apps. I can see that happening quite easily, to be honest. It's not I'm not like some AI expert. I can envision it, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
Okay. And you said earlier, we spoke about it, you said that something you'd really love to do is the front end things like app development and stuff as well. Have you get any funky ideas for apps that you'd like to put out?
See, I wish I had like that kind of constantly coming up with cool ideas, because then how easy would life be where you could just put them into it. If your brain was coming up with ideas and you also knew how to program to a decent level, like that's the dream. I don't know. I'm not like completely sure. Remember, what was that I trying to do? I was really like passionate. I think it was like my 4th year project at uni, like coming up with that like film review and recommendation site. I mean, I don't think that's very unique, to be fair, but like that was like a passion and like and also like an interest outside of work. I tried to combine it into two, and that took a lot of my time in the 4th year at uni. So that was pretty fun. Enjoyed that. But in terms of like unique ideas, I'm not really too sure, and I'm not going to be giving them away in the podcast in case anyone steals them.
Mate, I could steal them and then do fuck all with them because I have no idea how to program. I think
Yeah.
maybe we should
You see what I
join
mean?
forces, mate.
Yeah, join the brains or whatever.
Yeah, I think I'll be the ideas man, mate, and you can put stuff into practice. Say for example,
Yeah.
I had an idea for an app. It needed payment integrations and it needed a social aspect where you could contact other users. Is that something you could actually program and make a reality?
Probably. I mean, a lot of programming is just kind of learning as you go along, and just kind of finding what you can use and how to use it. And I think that's maybe something that I have quite a good knack for, being a quick learner. But I don't see why not, to be honest. I mean, at the end of the day with the internet, like the documentation and how to do things is all there. It's just a matter of kind of realising how to use it and being familiar with kind of some of the core like principles of like programming and coding or whatever. I think that's all you kind of need, to be honest.
Yeah, it's the core principles and the understanding of how coding works, which I think probably stops so many people from programming their own ideas, because probably a lot of people like myself that have a lot of ideas but have no idea how to program. And it's one of those things that just seems too scary. I remember when I first started getting into investing, a lot of the language used and the acronyms and stuff like that, it was way too scary, and it took my brother actually explaining things in simple terms for me to understand what the fuck's going on. I get you.
It just kind of seems like a bit of a black box, if you know what I mean, where you know it works, but like you're not really sure how it's doing it. I think that's kind of a thing about programming as well. But you can sit down and go through it, and I mean it takes a while to learn and get used to the kind of logic and whatnot, but it's doable.
Yeah, and whatever happened with the movie review, because it's similar to Letterboxd, am I right in saying that?
Yeah. I wanted to introduce like some degree of AI for recommendations. I mean, it was just a unique project for my honours degree. Helped me get an A for a distinction in that year, so I'm not complaining. I never really took it further than that, to be honest. Just kind of submitted it, never looked back.
Fair enough. With that as well, did you get your offer for this Barclays jobs before you'd finish your masters? When did that offer come in?
Yeah, so in between my fourth and fifth year of uni, I interned at Barclays, so it was like the summer internship. So it was like an 8-week program starting in June and ending mid-August. And based on that, then they offer you a position on the grad scheme in like a year's time. So you go back to uni for a year and do whatever you're doing. So for me, that was doing like my master's degree. And then I knew it was quite nice knowing like at the end of this year, I definitely have a job. I mean, assuming like you get your degree, obviously. But that's how that worked, yeah. So I kind of got into my last year of uni. I knew there was something at the end of it, thankfully, and didn't have to go through like the interview process and whatnot again. But yeah, that is definitely like a weight off the shoulders doing it that way.
You said get your degree. Did you need to get a certain mark, or was it just get a degree?
No, I think it was just like as long as you don't fail it. I think I can't actually remember what the circumstances were. I'm just assuming like I think if I failed it, I don't think I would have had a job. But I'm pretty sure that's what the circumstances were.
How much of your fourth and fifth year classes went into grad schemes with these major players?
A lot. You think of it like my friend group that I made from uni and stuff, like majority of these all got picked up by like JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Barclays, and then out with like just my friend group. Like it's like a very I'm trying to think what the kind of good way of putting it is. It's like a conveyor belt, I guess, that you go through uni, and like the banks are just there at the end of it, scooping up the talent. There's different ways of looking at it, but for me personally, it's worked out quite well. So I'm not complaining.
Would you say there's any particular way to stand out amongst the competition? Because a lot of people are going into computing and computing science and similar degrees and will want to get these high-paying jobs as soon as they leave. So obviously you've done your 8-week internship. Is there anything else that set you apart from the competition?
I think like a lot of like my interviews weren't just like technical stuff. It was like showing like you have good like social skills, and actually just being able to talk through problems with people. I think was very key, and being a good communicator was. To be fair, like my technical interview for my internship, like I butchered it. And some like I was terrible. Like it's like giving me like PTSD thinking about it.
Tell me more. About it now.
Nah, it was just asking questions about stuff that I had, like SQL, and I hadn't used it in ages. And I was just genuinely like, "Oh man, I'm so sorry, I have no idea." And like it was getting to the point of the interview where it's like, "Oh, come on, you know it," and I'm like, "No, I don't." Nah.
He's pure egging like, on, and you're like, "Nah, mate, no idea. Sorry."
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's obviously like an interview situation where if I'd actually just sat and thought about it for like a bit longer, I probably would have got it fine, but it's just like, obviously your mind just blanks. But I'd saying that, like, I then had it on the flip side, you also have like non-technical interviews, so more just talking like scenario based, like what would you do if like this was to happen, and like in your role and things like that. And I think that really saved me. And kind of helped me pick up how bad I done in my technical interview. So I guess like you also have to work on non-technical skills at the same time. I think being a good communicator is very, very key.
It's funny that you say that, because I don't know if you listened to it, but on a podcast with Steeps 2 weeks ago, and he obviously works at JP Morgan. He came in from the finance side of things, and he espoused the same thing as you, and that they focused on his aptitude for problem solving and conversation, the social aspect on it more than anything. And
yeah, I think it's a very common pattern.
Yeah, he had a limelight into the back of it as well, and he said that when they have their people through in terms of things, their age and like their gender and stuff, they're all grayed out. It's just based on their skills and experience. I think it's a really good way of doing things, because there's no bias at any point. He says they removed schools and stuff they went to as well. We were talking about the difference between private schools and public schools, and I was asking if private schools had more attention or it was easier for them to get in. They're saying no, that's all blanked out, that information.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not aware of how they do it at Barclays, but I imagine it follows a very similar path, which is pretty cool. I think that's a very good way of doing it. I think it really helps for the companies anyway, making sure like you get the best talent possible and you're not making any influence decisions. So I agree with that.
I don't really have a segue to this section, but it's something that's been on my mind recently. I was thinking about people in their 20s and how you've got a massive variation in what people do. So, for example, Dylan's someone who's got his own house, is paying that mortgage up, working a full-time job. You're working this full-time grad scheme. You've got some people that are working in pubs. You get some people that are doing other things. You've got people like myself who've travelled and done everything different. And there's just so many different ways of approaching your 20s. And I'm wondering, outside of your career, is there anything else you've set yourself a target for your 20s that you want to have done by the end of it?
Not particularly. No, I'm just gonna very much take it as it comes kind of person. I mean, I don't know. A lot of my goals at the moment are like mostly to do with like obviously like climbing and stuff like that, improving my fitness maybe. But I don't really have like long term goals. I don't really want to define it that way. Just take it as it comes. I think everyone's path's very different. Obviously, said the amount of kind of roles and stages in their careers or lives that people are in at the moment. I don't know. Everyone's different, and everyone kind of goes about it a different way. I don't think there's any reason that like one's necessarily better than the other. Don't know. People get enjoyment out of things in different ways, so each to their own, in my opinion.
And with Barclays, is there an opportunity to travel to different countries for you, and is that something you'd like to partake in?
I'm not really sure, to be honest. Also, I know they have offices in Whitney, New York. They have offices Prague, offices. I think where else they have offices, India as well. But I'm not really sure what the kind of protocol about. Like, I don't know whether. I mean, there's probably opportunities to visit colleagues, like temporarily, but I don't know if there's opportunities to just completely switch and like work somewhere else in the world. I'm not. It's not something again I've not really looked into at the moment. I don't know. I don't know what level that you need to maybe be at to like start asking about that. I'm not sure.
Okay, cool. I think we'll finish off the podcast with the way that I've done it with the other ones, which is we talk about character and our approach to self-development, etc. I know that for me, you obviously know me very well. I'm an absolute hound with self-development, always reading books and learning and watching YouTube videos and stuff. I'm wondering within the past 6 months, what's a difference you've made in terms of your process? Maybe it's your morning routine, maybe it's less time on your phone, maybe it's a different approach or a different mindset to exercise. What's one kind of change you've made in your life that's made a positive impact?
Well, there's definitely much more of a routine now with like working full time compared to being at uni, and kind of. I mean, I'm up early like, every morning and actually feeling a lot more productive, exercising a lot. Just kind of feel like you're getting a lot more out of your day by doing things that way, in my opinion. And it's something that like a welcome change that I kind of knew coming to the latter stages of like summer and not like working. It was like coming, and I was kind of excited about it. If you know what I mean, I was kind of like looking forward to having that routine. So yeah, I'd say just actually having a good routine and enjoying it at the moment, which is good.
Would you say that's... So I want to touch on 2 points there. Would you say the routine and the waking up early has had a positive effect on your mental health? Is that something that's tangible for you?
Yeah, I'd say so. You definitely feel, as I said, like you definitely feel like you're getting more out of your day, and being a bit more structured about how you're doing it, or going about doing things. I don't know, gives you a bit more purpose, I'd say.
For me, when I was traveling and stuff, I spent 7 or 8 months obviously in different places, and one of the things that I noticed is because I didn't have that routine, or I didn't have that kind of larger purpose or mission or goal in life, I started to just waste away, not in terms of physically but mentally, because I wasn't pursuing anything. I just started really not enjoying it, which is one of the reasons I moved to Oz, is because it gave me some roots where I can really start to integrate myself and build something. So I'm just wondering for you, how important is that larger purpose, that kind of constant goal, or would you be all right in the chaos?
I don't know. But I quite like a bit of a mix of it, to be honest. I wouldn't really mind, in a way, like not really knowing what's coming next and kind of keeping myself on my toes. But at the same time, I don't know. It's a really hard question. You can see pros and cons to both sides of it. I mean, I'm probably giving like the worst answers ever. You ask me questions, I'm just like, mate, I have no idea.
It's your interview all over again, mate.
Yeah. Oh, God, don't suggest it. I don't know. I'll stick with like I quite like the purpose and like knowing what I guess part of like the job and stuff is like knowing what I've got to do tomorrow basically, and the hours that I've got. So waking up in the morning and getting it done, and then outside of work hours, I'll go to the gym and have a good time there for about a while. So it's like again a good routine and structure and things I can get excited about and know that I can like look forward to. So yeah, if that makes sense.
Sounds if you're somewhat similar to me as well, and that we thrive more within that structure. Although I'll be honest with you, mate, not now and then, like once a day at least, I get the urge to pull a Chris McCandless and just sell everything and fuck off into the wild and just disappear, no phone, no tech, and then come back in like maybe 2 years time and just be like, yeah, troops, I was just out racing about the wild, hunting wild animals. I do get that urge twice a day, mate. Honestly, it's brutal, but for me, I want to achieve all my business success first, because I think I could never really fully live that life peacefully until I've done this part of it, because otherwise it would just feel like running away, and it needs to be something.
Okay. So you want to produced or delivered or something at least before you do that. Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah, done what I want to do in terms of business and success. Because for me, I think the core part that I measure myself worth by is achievement and success.
Okay.
And I think that's different for everyone. It's maybe an egotistical way of looking at it, but I think everyone has a measuring stick, and it's made up of different things. But for me, it's achievement, success. If you were to have a look at your measuring stick, what do you reckon it would read?
The way I look about like the work and stuff that I do and how I'd measure success is probably like producing stuff that I know will make a difference to someone. That's what I quite like working about, because I know that somewhere, even if it is some like internal team at Barclays, like they're going to be using the stuff that I'm working on, and like, it's a way of kind of that feeling of ownership. That you've helped do that and helped make someone's life a bit easier. I'd say that's the way I look at success, and especially that's probably quite a good way to look at it for programming. But yeah, I'd probably measure achievement and success like that way, producing something that you know is going to make a difference to someone somewhere, however small or mighty it might be.
That's a really healthy way of looking at it, because they can be really incremental improvements in people's lives.
Oh yeah,
it doesn't need to surmount after like 4 years. It can be something you've done that day has made a positive impact, and thus you're happier with it.
Yep, exactly. So
I need to take a page out your book, mate.
Yeah,
I'm going to try to
take that sounded like that sounded really insightful when I think about that back, actually. It's a good quote.
You're actually becoming wiser as this podcast goes on, my friend.
I know, right? Yeah, just start asking me like my technical interview now. I think I'll nail it.
Unfortunately, mate, I know fuck all about SQL, so
yeah, me neither apparently. So
is it SQL? Is that the one for building web pages? Or am I talking shit?
Nah, SQL is like database stuff.
Ah, well, there we are.
The least fun of everything.
Shows how much I know. Okay.
Yeah, fair enough.
Cool. I think we'll finish up there. With that, do you have anything you want to say to the 7 listeners of the podcast, mate? Any last words?
Oh, you're back. Okay.
Oh, we're back.
You're back.
Yeah, sorry, mate.
Yeah.
Any last words? We just cut you out on the last word, so. And he's gone again.
Right. You're back.
We're back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. That's really weird it keeps doing that. I don't know what's going on.
I think it's my Wi-Fi switched to 4G there, and we're fucking off the races.
Okay. Mate. Okay. Closing remarks. I hope someone's enjoying listening to like me rambling and giving really indecisive answers to your questions. That's probably my closing remark. I think what we can gather from this podcast is that I'm on the fence about
everything. Nathan is a maybe on all things. He doesn't really know. Yeah. He's not sure. You'll figure it out later.
What's that quote from It's Always Sunny? Like I play both sides. Yeah.
Here's a question for you. Actually, we usually finish on that, but question for you personally, because I know you're passionate about it, and I am as well. Give me some good movies you've seen recently.
Right. Started rewatching. So what was the story? I watched Better Call Saul when it first came out, the first season. Never went back to it. Started watching it again recently, and it's been terrific, and I highly recommend that one. I'm also going to plug Mr. Robot in while we're at it, because you and I both know that's one of the best TV shows ever made. What else?
Absolutely.
And Dark on Netflix. That's another one. Even if you put up with the subtitles and listen to it in German, but it is like your mind will be bending in shapes you never know it could, and it's terrific.
I've been told Dark's good. Actually, my other flatmate I had Binning, he was a big fan of Dark and said it was class.
Oh, it's terrific. It's just like wealth thought out, but also just like utterly like you're just kind of what is going on 90% of the show. So that's very good.
It's like, I like see what you mentioned about subtitles there. Some people get pissy when something's in a foreign language. I'm the opposite. I get pissy when it's supposed to be in a foreign language and it's English.
Yeah.
One thing.
There's nothing worse when the mouse don't like sync up with the words that they're saying.
No, not dubbing. Do you know what pissed me off so much? You and fucking 99% of other people went on about that fucking BBC Chernobyl series for so long, and I put it on for 30 seconds, and these Ukrainian cunts are in Ukraine at a fucking nuclear reactor, and they're speaking in English accents. English.
Yeah, I get you.
And I was like, mate, I watched 30 seconds of it, and I was like, I don't care how highly credited this is. It's getting turned off right now. I'm done. I'm sick of it.
It's a good show, to be fair.
Nah, mate, it's just fucking inconsistent. I was like, how can I believe any of this when it's in the wrong language? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough. Each to their own, but I rate it.
Talking of foreign language films as well. You introduced me to Another Round, the Danish film, right?
Fantastic film. Yeah.
Pretty sure it was you. Have you watched one called Speak No Evil?
No, but it rings a bell.
Right. Give that a watch and let me know your recommendation. It's one of the ones that you finish and you're just like, oh my lord, what have I sat through? That is wild.
Okay, I'll let you watch that as well then.
Alright.
I'll add it to the list.
Sorted.
Thank you very much.
Any last words? Do you want to say hello to family and friends?
I just want to say hi to all my fans, to be honest. I know we're going to be tuning in for this one. Yeah, we're going to be tuning in for this one. Like, you're going to notice a huge spike in your listeners because everyone's, oh my god, exclusive interview.
I wonder what I'm going to title this, mate. I'm going to have to listen through it again and listen to the piece of it.
I have no idea, mate. Enjoy that one.
Stuttering, nonsense, climbing, and movies. There we are. There's the title.
Yeah, that works. Yeah, a good bit of tech in there as well. Yeah.